Good day, it's Sir Max here. I had a request to do a settings video looking especially at graphics, but we will do the rest as well. Keyboard and mouse. I don't play keyboard and mouse, I play with controller, so we will look at controller. So when we start with graphics, display tab, display mode, full screen borderless. It's best playing at full screen as that's where you will get the best FPS out of your system. As I are running recording software and stuff like that on the background, I need to tab. So for me, full screen borderless is the only way to go. Display monitor. I've got an LG Ultra Gear. This will differ from you. Display adapter. AMD Radeon RX 6800. The screen refresh rate is 165. It's depending on the LG. Render resolution. This should be 100 default. It's the best setting for you. Dynamic resolution, enable. Dynamic resolution frame target is 100. This I've got different than everybody else. Most people are using this disabled. I just hate dropping frames to under 100 while I'm in a gunfight if something strange should happen. So I've got this enabled and got it limited at 100. So it will always be at least 100 and no stuttering will take effect. Aspect ratio, automatic, sync every frame, disabled, this kills the FPS. Custom frame rate limit, here I limited 110. I can have this open or unlimited. I will hit 160 to 180 frames, but constantly it will not be there. And again, with me running some other software in the background, it all depends. So for me personally, 110 is the sweet spot. That's where I know where my system will be running continuously without a problem. If I've got it unlimited, I've got like a jittering, stuttering feeling to the game that I hate. So I prefer the 110. I would love it to be 120, but 110 for me and my system is the sweet spot. You will need to play with this setting to get your sweet spot. Basically, this should be the frame rate that you are getting 90% of the time. Then frame rate limit in the menu is 60. When I'm out of focus, it's 30. Brightness, I can barely make out the Modern Warfare logo in this block. So that's the way you set it. Mine 50.68 is the sweet spot. Anything from 45 to 55 is recommended. I've played in Verdansk. I played it a little bit lighter as that was a darker map, but with Caldera the little bit of a darker setting is preferable for me. Display gamma 2.2. You will go 2.4 if you play on a TV. Okay, then the quality tab. Yes, I'm on a PC, so I can play 120. I was playing 80 for a very long time, but since I started to play Rebirth, I decided to go 95 just to fit a little bit more real estate, and it's a much more close quarter situation. At 120, I can't see the enemies when they're on a far distance, so I prefer 95. Again, it's something that you can play with. 95 for me is the sweet spot. And then ADS field of view is affected. Camera movement, least 50%. If you don't got it on that setting, go and change it now. It will make a big difference to how your screen will react while playing. Stream quality normal, texture resolution low, texture filtering high, particle quality high, bullet impact enabled. Again, this disabled. Can give you a bit of extra FPS, but because I'm testing guns a lot and like to check the recoil, I've got that enabled. Tessellation disabled, gore effect disabled, on the bond texture filtering disabled. Post-processing effect, anti-aliasing, this is where I'm different than the rest, and it gives me more quality and more clearer definition on the screen. So I'm running this at 2 times. Most people are not running it, or they got it at 1 times. When you don't run it or you got it at 1 times, you need to change this filmic strength to 1. There's a whole explanation here on the left side, or right side, sorry about it. Okay, again, I'm running it 2 times. It gives me quality of the image, and I prefer that over frame rate. Depth of field disabled, definitely. World motion blur disabled, definitely. Weapon motion blur disabled, definitely. Then we've got shadow map resolution at normal, cache spots enable, cache sun shadows enable, particle lighting low, direct X ray tracing disable, ambient occlusion disable, screen space reflection disable. Okay, any questions around the graphics, please pop a comment in the video and I will answer it for you if possible. Otherwise I will do a follow-up video. Interface, subtitles disable, colorblind disable. Playing with your adapter settings and display settings can sort out a lot of these problems to go colorblind or not. I actually added a bit of saturation to my display adapter. I know the AMD can do that. I'm not sure of NVIDIA, but in that way the colors is popping, and that's what you are looking for, is the colors to be popping, the reds to be red, the greens to be greens, and that's it. If you go colorblind, go world, otherwise the interface is also affected by that. Tooltips disabled, horizontal heads up and vertical heads up. Again, I changed this, the default is 100, I run it at a 0. This actually moves the HUD and the map to the inner side. Playing Rebirth, the mini-map is very important, so I want it in the field of my view as far as possible. So yes, I run it at 0 to have it to the center to the screen as far as possible. Minimap shape, square, only noobs play it round. Minimap resolution, rotation, sorry, enabled. Show compass enabled. Compass cardinal direction test, letters. Kill feed duration, I think default is 10. I've got it at 20 to just get a little more information from the enemy. Yeah, sometimes I get a little bit more DEFCOM as well, but yeah, we'll take that. Always show vehicle controls as none. Text chat, enable, new message, sound alert, disable, text chat duration, disabled. This section here is actually what you see here on the left top. It's only applicable to PC players. You can see on screen what I've got enabled and what not. Basically, GPU time and CPU time we use to determine where's the bottleneck of the system. I can also see if my CPU is actually doing something that it shouldn't be doing, then this delay goes up. So that's why I keep it there. Okay. That's all for interface. Next, audio. Audio mixed. The options available that I would feel is applicable is boost, boost high, and low. This all depends on your headset. So you got to test what's best for your headset. I've got a Corsair headset, and for my headset, boost low makes the footsteps the best. Master volume, again, it's recommended to have this lower than 100. This is not the overall sound of the game. It is actually the sound of the planes and stuff like that. Footsteps get affected by the effects volume. So having this lower is preferable. Music volume 0, dialogue volume 55, and then the effects volume as hard as possible, and that's 100. Cinematic, that's useless. Juggernaut disable. Heat marker, modern warfare, again it's own preference. Mono audio, make sure this is disabled, otherwise you lose all your directional audio. This will normally be default or your headset or mic that you are running. I'm running Voice Meter Banana and OBS, so it looks a bit different. Mic, you can have open mic or closed mic. If you got an open mic, play with the threshold here, where it actually kicks in. Playing with this determine the background noise so your teammates doesn't hear your wife and your dogs and stuff like that. Okay, when I'm on stream, I actually close it for button. I've got a little foot pedal that gives me a B, so when I'm playing on stream, I use that. So when I want to talk to the team, I press the foot pedal and that gives me a B. Default is a V. That is, if you play on keyboard to mouse, then you press V to actually speak. Voice chat, again, depending on your headset, this is the volume that your team talk to you. Microphone volume, mine is 120. I want to be the loudest. I want the medic first by me. Voice chat effects, no effects, war tracks. This again is only applicable when you're playing BR, I would say. Disable it then. It's the best. Then you can hear what goes on around you. Okay, then controller. Button layout for me is default. I actually got a MAD controller, PS5 MAD controller with 4 buttons at the back extra. So I slide and jump with my pedals at the back. Invert vertical look, air vehicles only. So this is for the fighter planes in the Vanguard mode. Otherwise your right stick is the wrong way around in my mind. Left stick, minimum input dead zone. Again, dead zone is a whole new topic by itself, but just quick, bump the sensitivity to 20 and play with the dead zone until your character doesn't move, or you can open the map and see if the cursor actually moves or not. So my left stick got a little bit more drift than my right stick. Then the maximum input dead zone, left stick, I'm lazy to push it all the way forward to get it to 100. So I actually put it at 80, then when I'm at 80% of the left stick forward, then it is recognized as 100%. Right stick I don't mess around with. Horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity, it's 7. This is all dependent on the FOV as well, if you didn't know that. So I was on a 9.9 when I was on 80 FOV, but since I'm playing on 95 FOV, I had to actually pull it down to a 7 to have the same in-game sensitivity. Okay, custom sensitivity per zoom, definitely on for me, as I've got up until 4 times, I've got at 0.7, and then after that I've got it 0.8. So for my snipers I got it at 0.8, so that I actually got control over picking that headshot. If I go higher, I don't have the detail movement to get the headshot on or not. Aim response curve, dynamic, controller vibration disabled, aim assist standard, scale aim assist with FOV enabled. Again, this is applicable when you do FOV greater than 80. So if you go greater than 80, the block gets bigger if that is disabled. So if the block goes bigger and you hip fire, then you hip fire where the enemy actually is not. So I have it enabled so that the block stays the same size as the enemy, so that when I hip fire I get the aim assist on the enemy. Weapon mount, double tap, it's your own preference. Aim down sight behavior is hold, steady aim behavior is hold, equipment behavior is hold. Use reload behavior, tap to use, definitely depleted ammo enabled. Armor plate behavior, you can have this as apply one or apply all. I prefer apply all, as I can always cancel it. Slide behavior tap, as again I use my paddles at the back to slide and jump. Auto move forward disabled. Tactical sprint double tap I don't use because I've got the automatic sprint enabled and I prefer that. Like I said, the left stick 80%, I'm hitting my tactical sprint. Vehicle camera recenter, enable. Parachute auto deploy, I've got it enable. It's a bit tricky these days. I had it at disable, but with that change that they made, I catch myself out eating face first in the ground, so I've got it at enable. I know when you first pulled it during your fall, it is actually then not there, but yes, I just keep it there as a backup. Yeah, that's basically all. Any questions, pop it into the comments and I will answer it for you. Thanks.